Hey, hi, hello, my name is dis.cat. This is Project Hardcover, where we're letting books be the escape. And yes, my camera system still sucks. Hello, lovelies. I know, it's been a while. I know, I'm a terrible person. I didn't do my December wrap-up in December. I didn't do a January TBR, and I didn't actually do my January wrap-up in January. Everything is late, but what can I say? Life is a thing. College is a thing. You guys understand, right? So anywho, I just decided in the midst of all of the holiday madness that I would just lump my December and my January nonsense together into one grand video. And that's what you have here. So that being said, I have 2 months worth of books to hurry up and do in one wrap-up. So let's just get started. Of course, we're going to start with the books that I read in December. The first book that I tackled in December was Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This book has gotten just the best reviews all over Goodreads and BookTube, especially BookTube. So I was super excited to read it, despite the fact that it's high fantasy, which isn't really my thing. But this book was phenomenal. I absolutely loved Selena. Selena is goddess. She is amazing. She was a fantastic character, just a brilliant woman character. I loved her. In particular, I loved the fact that Selena was able to be this just god-awfully, amazingly bad-ass assassin, but she also liked putting on party dresses and going to balls and being doted on by boys. She felt both of those things, and you know, that's because, yeah, women can feel both of those things. We can feel like fierce warriors who want to rip your throats out with our teeth, and want to put on pretty clothes and go dancing. We can do both. So with that being said, absolutely love this book. I want to devour this series. I really do. Just phenomenal. I'm pretty sure I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Just, I love this. Just, Selena. The second book that I read in December, I'm sure you already know my feelings about, but I'm going to gush about it anyway, was The Dream Thieves by Maggie Stiefvater, which is the second book in the Raven Cycle Quartet. If you guys watched my top 14 of 2014 video, which I will link here, high five, you will know that I am obsessed with this series. And let me just tell you, the obsession definitely just took full root and full control with this book. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first book was spectacular, an amazing first book, but this one just, oh, this book. Words cannot describe or express my deep-seated love for Ronan Lynch. This boy is so complex and so complicated and angsty and just so beautiful and amazing, and I love him. I love him. But I love all of them. I love everybody. Just everybody in this book is amazing and fantastic and so multifaceted and just wonderful, and the writing is so rich and fabulous. Just, Maggie Stiefvater, what have you done to me? What have you done to me? So yes, definitely 5 out of 5 stars. This book was just phenomenal. It was amazing. The third book that I tackled in December was the completion of a series, of a journey, if you will, and it was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. This book, people, just, I'm wondering if I even need to tell you guys how fantastic this was, because it seems like I'm the only person on BookTube who hasn't read these books. Just give me a moment. I will find words. This was the kind of conclusion that people who read paranormal books hope for, but so rarely get. But this conclusion was so fantastic, so amazing, and I was skeptical about everyone saying that there were going to be multiple cry-worthy moments in here. Oh, I should not have doubted the good people of BookTube. I really shouldn't have. I absolutely fell in love with these characters along the course of this series, and seeing them end up where they ended up, I am just completely satisfied with it, which I hardly ever get to say with the completion of a series, especially trilogies. They're always so iffy. But this one, yes, completely satisfying. I wouldn't have changed a thing about the ending to this book. It was just, so freaking good. Like, people who are thinking about writing trilogies, especially ones with love triangles, read this before you do, because this should be like a handbook. Definitely gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, by the way. Just, yeah, 5 stars right here. The fourth book that I tackled in December wasn't on my TBR, but my friend gave it to me in December, and I couldn't wait. I had to read it. I had to, and it was Blue Lily, Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater, which is the third book in the Raven Cycle Quartet, and just, oh my god, this series is going to be the death of me. Just, these characters are so wonderful and so amazing, and I love them just so ridiculously much. Like, it's a little disgusting how attached I am to these fictional characters. It's actually kind of scaring me, but just, oh my goodness, I loved this book. I love all of these books, but if I have one issue with this, it is, of course, the ending. Just, what the hell, Maggie Stiefvater, what the hell? Of course, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars as well, and I cannot wait for the fourth book in this series, and Maggie Stiefvater is the most infuriating and evil woman on the face of the planet. Like, seriously, you guys should follow her Tumblr. Specifically her Tumblr. She is evil with her baiting. She's just... Maggie, I don't like being tortured this way. The fifth book that I tackled in December is another book that I feel like I am the only person on BookTube who hasn't read it, and it was Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This book, just, I don't even know what to say about this book. Just, oh my goodness. Like, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed this book. It was just, it was such a ride. I don't know how to accurately describe my feelings about this. I mean, of course, it was really just great. Just the plot was so interesting and complex, and the characters, oh my goodness, Victor and Eli, just phenomenal characters. It's just so strange when your characters are so flawed and just have so many issues, and you find yourself liking them. It makes you feel a little weird. But yes, I definitely enjoyed this. It just makes me feel a little weird about myself, considering how much I really liked Victor. Like, I really liked Victor. He was a spot-on main character. Goes without saying, I'm pretty sure I gave this a 4 or maybe even a 5 out of 5 stars. I can't remember. But yes, I really did enjoy this book. Just, I'm questioning my morals a little bit. The next book that I tackled in the month of December was Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alir Sands? I don't know. And people, this book was beautiful. It was so good, so amazing. I loved these characters. They were so real and so poignant, and their story was so fantastic, and their relationships. Everyone talks about the relationships in this book, not just between the two main characters, but between the two main characters and everyone else around them. And people, just let me tell you, yes, every relationship in this book is fantastic. I absolutely flew through this book. Like, I don't even think it took me a day to read this. It was so wonderful, so touching, so heartwarming, so fantastic. Just everything that I love contemporary to be. I love when contemporary is real and poignant like this without making grand gestures. It's just fantastic. So yes, this is definitely a 5 out of 5 stars for me. I definitely recommend this. Just these Prince Honor books, they just know what to do to me, and just yes. And the last book that I read in December was Ask Ask the Passengers by A.S. King. And yet again, we have an amazing example of what contemporary should be. This book was so real, and the characters were going through such real issues, and I just love that about A.S. King's books. This is the second A.S. King book that I've read, and both of them had main characters who had issues that were so real and so relatable, and it was just so wonderful, so fantastic, and I loved it. This book is fantastic, an absolute, you have to read A.S. King's books. Like, I am just a full supporter of A.S. King now. Just anything she writes, I will read now. I love this. Definitely gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Just fantastic. I love A.S. King now. Just induct me into the church of A.S. King. So that's it. Those were the books that I read in December. Now let's mosey on to the books I read in January. So January, I decided I was going to call my sequel miss month. And by that, I mean I just read a bunch of sequels. So first up in January, we had Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, which is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. That's right, I love Throne of Glass so much that the next month I just had to hurry up and carry over into the second book, and just, oh my goodness, I'm hooked on this series now. Just Selena and Dorian and Gale and just, oh my goodness. And this book, man, this book got real, just so real and so brutally fantastic. Just, I love this series, and I cannot wait to move on to Air of Fire, which I have heard is the best book by far, which I can't even imagine at this point. So I'm sure it's just going to blow my brains out. So yes, definitely 5 out of 5 stars. Oh, I love this series. Just Selena is goddess. The second book that I read in January was Hollow City by Ransom Riggs, which is the sequel to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I really enjoyed Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I mean, it totally didn't go in the direction that I thought it was going to go in, but I still just epically enjoyed it. And I was so super excited to hear that it was going to be a series, not just a standalone. So I hurried up and read Hollow City, as soon as I could find space for it, and just, oh my goodness, this series is just getting all kinds of crazy. We pick right up where the first book left off, and it was just a steady train of action and intrigue and mystery and all kinds of craziness right off of the start. And it was just so wonderful, and of course the creepy pictures are in this one as well, and it was just wonderful, and oh, I love this, and I cannot wait until the third book comes out. It's gonna be so wonderful, just so wonderful. I love this series. If you people have not read this, you need to, because it's fantastic. Definitely gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Just, Jessie was right. Jessie was right. This next book that I read in January, I actually started in September of 2014, but I actually stopped myself because I wanted to read it closer to when the third book came out, and that book is Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken, which is the second book in the Darkest Minds trilogy. I read The Darkest Minds, and I loved it, and it left off in such an infuriating place. I wanted to hurry up and get to the next one, but then I heard that it was going to be a whole 3 months or something until In the Afterlight came out, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to wait that long. So I put it off, and then In the Afterlight came out, and then, I was like, it's time to read Never Fade, it's time. And I read it, and oh, I devoured it. It was so good. I mean, the beginning was a tad bit slow, but after I'd say maybe 50 pages or so, it definitely picks up and then just takes right off, and it's just the amazing epic story that we remember from The Darkest Minds, and it was so fantastic. And of course this one leaves off in an infuriating place too, and I'm just super excited to finish this trilogy. I love this trilogy. Ruby is an amazing main character, and of course, everyone loves Liam. If you don't love Liam, there's something wrong with you. Just, I love this book. I love these characters. I cannot wait to finish this trilogy. Just, 5 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. The next book that I tackled in January is one that I should have read ages ago. Don't ask me why I didn't. I have no excuse, no answer. And that book is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, which is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles. I read Cinder for Booktubeathon in July of 2014. That's right, that was way too long ago. So when January rolled around and I decided that I was going to just pick up all of the sequels that I could manage to get done in 1 month, I was like, you know what? Scarlet needs to be there. It needs to be there. So I read it, and of course, it was amazing! I love this series. I mean, I usually really don't like the traditional retellings of fairy tales. I really prefer them to be dark retellings if they're going to be anything. But this series does it so well. I think the genius of it is that it doesn't follow the plot lines exactly. It's very loosely based. It just has the same basic structure. It doesn't follow the exact plot, and that is what makes it so freaking fantastic. Definitely gave this 5 out of 5 stars, and I cannot wait to get my grubby little hands on Cress, because I heard that Cress is by far the best book in this series, so I'm just super duper excited to get to it. Just, I need it in my life. But yes, definitely 5 out of 5 stars. The series is so freaking good. I love it. I love it. The next book that I read in January was actually an ARC that was sent to me, and it is Lighting the World by Merle Drown. This book is about a boy named Wade who doesn't have a fantastic home life. So he decides that he's going to move in with his uncle, who has recently lost the use of his legs because of a terrible motorcycle accident. He also plans on taking along his classmate, a girl named Maria, who also just has a terrible home environment, and he wants to take her with him because mostly he has feelings for her, but also because he doesn't want her to become like a ward of the state. But things go really awry when he goes to pick up Maria from school to go on this trip, and he brings a gun with him. So yes, this book had a very intriguing synopsis, so I was really excited to get my hands on a copy of this. But, oh man, this book fell so flat. I mean, seriously, I was halfway through this book, and I still had absolutely no connection to either of these characters. And that's really saying something, considering how you have two characters with these really terrible home life situations. You would think that you would be able to garner some sympathy for them with your reader, but no, absolutely nothing. Just absolutely nothing. It was like I was reading a teleprompter or something. Story was just so slow. The climax of the story, which you can guess would be the shooting part of the story, doesn't even happen until like 30 pages before the end. It's just so slow, so dragging. The main character, Wade, totally strays off from the plot and tells these side anecdote stories that just really don't fit in with anything that's going on. It just, it didn't work. It didn't work for me. The next book that I read in January, just absolutely everyone has been ranting and raving about how fantastic it is, and oh man, they should be, and it is Saga, Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. Oh my goodness. This graphic novel series is fantastic. This is sort of a space opera-y kind of Romeo and Juliet story. Basically, our two main characters are from opposite sides of an intergalactic war, and, you know, they decide, hey, that's not really how we want to go. We want to be together and have cute babies and stuff. So, it's basically kind of that kind of story. But oh man, I'm not doing it justice. There's just so much more going on here, and it's so interesting and amazing, and the artwork is fantastic. I'm not going to flip through it for you because it does get, you know, a little graphic, if you know what I mean. So beware of that if you're, you know, below, I don't know, 16? I don't know. What age should you guys be reading stuff? I don't know. Just be warned, there's some racy bits in here. But anywho, this graphic novel is so freaking amazing, and I like need the rest of the volumes like right now. As soon as I can, I'm getting my hands on the rest of them because I need more of this story. This is just absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. 5 out of 5 stars, no doubt. Just, I love this. I need more. Like, I need more. And then finally, the last book that I read in January was Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo, which is the second book in the Grisha trilogy. So I read Shadow and Bone in November, and I really enjoyed it. I know so many people have issues with Alina as a main character. They think that she's weak, but I didn't think so. I think that Alina was just waiting for her moment to shine, if you will, and I definitely think that we see her grow an awful lot in this book. No, she's still not the epic tour de force that I think she will still become, but she's definitely on her way there. And the story is still so good. The writing is amazing, and the story is very gripping and interesting, and the characters are so much fun, and just, I love them. I love Nikolai. Like, Nikolai is amazing. So yes, I really enjoyed this installment. I cannot wait to finish this trilogy. I am still pulling for Alina. I still think that she's just totally gonna turn around and show everybody that she's just this amazing little badass. She just needed the right push in the right direction, and she'll just explode into this fiery, awesome woman, and it'll be so fantastic. I totally think that's what's gonna happen. Those are my predictions for Ruin and Rising. But yes, totally enjoyed this. I think I gave this a 4 or a 5 out of 5 stars. I can't remember. I'm terrible at remembering things. But yes, I really enjoyed this. Cannot wait to finish this trilogy. I like this. I like this a lot. And there you go. Those are all of the books that I read in December and January. I am so sorry that I have not been on the ball. Do not fret! My book haul for the holiday season is coming very soon, as is my February TBR, so keep on the lookout for those things. As always, thanks you guys for watching. Thank you for putting up with the infuriating glare on my glasses. I know it's so annoying, but I'm still doing this shooting thing on the iPad, and I hate it. Trust me, I hate it far more than you guys do. And remember, books are the escape.